In this video, I'm going to be teaching you about U.S. history and the first people. So, the first people who came to America, which are the Native Americans. So, moving on. So, how did people settle in America? So, Native Americans share many racial characteristics with Asians, so it's suggested that they share a common geographical origin with Asians. So, the most generally accepted theory of how the Americas were first populated is that anywhere from 16,500 to 45,000 years ago, human beings used the Bering Land Bridge to enter the New World. And these people migrated from Northeast Asia to Northwest North America. So that's how people came to America. So moving on. So the first types of Native American cultures in America, so one of the groups, Native American groups were called the Anasazi. So the Anasazi, what is now Southwest United States, the Anasazi settled there. And the Anasazi appeared as early as 5500 BCE and are also called the basket makers because of the many skillfully woven and often remarkably beautiful baskets that have been discovered in sites associated with their culture. And during the period of 700 to 1100 CE, the Anasazi built these buildings called pueblos, which is Spanish for town, village, or people. So these pueblos were fantastic groupings of stone and adobe apartment buildings. And one of the most spectacular pueblos, and that's surviving still today, is the Mesa Verde National Park in southwest Colorado. So you can go visit there and see their beautiful pueblos. Okay, moving on. So the mound builders, so in the meantime, to the east, in a vast area stretched from the Appalachian Mountains to the eastern edge of the prairies, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, there were other Native Americans, and these Native Americans had a totally different kind of culture, and these Native Americans built built these mounds, or like earthworks, that modern archaeologists classify as burial mounds or temple mounds, and these mounds served as the foundations for important public and private buildings. And moving on, Cahokia is a place, and that's like right now in Collinsville, Illinois, and is 2,200 acres big, and this site includes many mounds, and which are evident in Mississippian culture. And the Cahokia was an advanced society that was well developed before European contact. So, and it's believed that Cahokia was settled around 650 CE, but the mound building began like about 1050. So Cahokia was home to as many as 40,000 people, and was typical of settlements that ranged across the Midwest. That was typical for like that many people to live together in a place. And so they had pottery and stone tool remains, so it's believed that Cahokia routinely traded with communities as far as the Great Lakes and the Gulf Coast. So for the downfall of Cahokia, they didn't fall because of European contact or European-born disease. It's believed that because of like food shortages and deforestation led to the city to disappear. And moving on. So most people believe that Christopher Columbus came to North America first, but that's actually not truth. The Vikings came first, and it seems likely that the Vikings reached Faroe Islands by 800 CE and that they landed in Greenland in 870 CE. And the very first Old World dweller to set eyes on the continent of North America was most likely a Norseman named Bjarni. I don't know how to say his last name, but in 986 CE. But that was a misconception, and he really didn't see North America. So it was about like a decade later that Leif Erikson actually landed in North America. And his expedition touched a place called Helluland, which is probably Baffin Island, and Markland, which is most likely Labrador. And most historians believe that Leif and his men spent a winter in crude Viking huts hastily erected on a spot called Vineland. And Vineland is called Vineland because they had berries and grapes. So vine stands for like grapevine. So that's why they call it Vineland. And okay, just some brief. Yeah. Okay, so after Leif and his fleet left Vineland, his brother Thorvald Eriksson paid a visit to the settlement in about 1004. In 1010, another Icelandic explorer named Thorfinn Karlsefni attempted to establish a more permanent settlement at Vineland, but after so many winters, he and his settlers forever abandoned Vineland. And the Viking expeditions, all in all, in North America led to pretty much nothing. But it's good to know that the Vikings came first before Christopher Columbus. So the basic key points you need to know on this topic for U.S. history and for your U.S. history AP exam or any U.S. history test you're going to be taking. So pre-Columbian natives. So pre-Columbian natives domesticated maize, tomatoes, and potatoes. They created a mathematically based calendar. They built multifamily dwellings. They constructed irrigation systems. They practiced division of labor based on gender, and they did not develop wheeled vehicles. They did not develop water wheels, and they did not have a tradition of private property rights. So you need to know these for your AP exam for U.S. history and any test you're taking, like the SAT, subject test for U.S. history, you should know that. And for East Woodland tribes, you should know that East Woodland tribes lived in village communities and had agricultural economies based upon the domestication of corn. And the Anasazi, you should know that the Anasazis of the Southwest were a sedentary society, agricultural people who built elaborate pueblos. And for tribes in Pacific Northwest, you should know pretty much only that they relied on hunting and fishing for food. And finally, you should know about the Iroquois Confederacy. And this is very important. You should read this in your textbook and search it up online, because this is just brief, but you should know more. It will be on your test for the AP exam or the SAT. And the Iroquois Confederacy constituted the most important and powerful North American political alliance. The Confederacy ended generations of tribal warfare and formed the most important North American political organization to confront the colonists. That would happen later on. And you should know about the Iroquois Native Americans and that they lived in permanent settlements. So that's all, and I hope you learned about some U.S. history, and I hope that my video helped. And please tune in for my next video on the Spanish conquest. Thank you. Bye.